Welcome to Ecom Cowboy. This is D2C's daily show where we believe ads are not bad, ignorance is expensive, and the American dream is alive and well on the internet today. It is Wednesday, April 22nd, 2026, in the year of our Lord. We are coming to you from an undisclosed location in the beautiful hills of Austin, Texas. And even though Commerce Roundtable is over, we have got a jam-packed show for you today. We're brought to you by Seguno, Postscript, and Incense, and we have got to get into this. ChatGPT Images 2.0 are here. Kind of thought they were deprecating this whole thing by getting rid of Sora, but it is here nonetheless, and the internet is impressed. Meta is now following their employees' keystrokes all over the interwebs to change their AI models and train them for the future. Is that good, bad, indifferent, or just business as usual? Chubby's has launched a new resale site, and did you know that Resale-as-a-Service is a thing? I did not, and I am impressed, and I think more brands need to be doing this instead of just simply seeding their resaled goods to ThredUp and eBay and all the other places. The eComFuel report, trend report, is out. Also very interesting findings in there. We're going to be joined by Philip Lee, founder of ENAK Seasonings, ENAK Flavors. He also comes to us, friend of Ryan Dreyer in the tribal training group. He is going to join us. As always, I am joined by my partner in crime, Colin Dougherty. Colin, get in here. Get inside this show.
Let's go. Let's go.
Let us go. Now, Colin, you're still on the road. You're still on the road right now. Is that the case?
That's the case.
You're going to be going back to Charlotte, North Carolina very soon. I'm actually going to drive you to the airport. Some people thought that we might literally be side by side today, but unfortunately my camera setup not ready for that. But we are here and we are making it happen. ChatGPT Images 2.0 is here. And the internet is abuzz with what it is bringing. I think we need to scroll through this thread and read some of it for the good folks who are listening right now, because I kind of thought this was totally gone. It is not. And people are impressed. Introducing ChatGPT Images 2.0, state-of-the-art image model can take on complex visual tasks, produce precise, immediately usable visuals. The video at the top was actually made with ChatGPT images. Okay, kind of cool. But we scroll down here. It is a step change in detailed instruction following, placing and relating objects accurately, rendering dense text with the ability to generate across aspect ratios. Pretty nice. Greater precision and control. Scroll up a little bit, Jack. This picture of rice, apparently, and the writing on the page, all generated. ChatGPT Images 2.0. You zoom in on the rice. It's impressive. I don't think that I could tell that this was AI produced at all when one looks at it. Obviously, equipping and giving creatives inside of our space more tools in their belt and the ability to do things perhaps at a level of scale they could not before. Stronger across languages. They've got an example here of a Japanese manga comic as an example. Stylistic sophistication, photorealism, little nostalgia core here, where it looks like high school students from 1999 are using ChatGPT. And flexible aspect ratios, visual thought painter. I think a lot of people are really impressed, specifically, scroll down, Jack, with its ability to give it, hey, here's a website. Here's my kind of colors. Can you make a brand pack for me? Can you produce some products, some merch for me based on my website, etc.? I kind of thought this would be neat to just test out for ourselves, Colin, and just see, what it could make of some proposed merch, Ecom Cowboy merch. And real world intelligence. I'm overall looking at a lot of the things that have been produced, and we'll see some of the examples. I'm impressed. I thought this was going away entirely. Does this shock you? I thought Sora was done, and that meant images and such with chat would go away as well. You can bring us back, Jack.
Yeah, it's really interesting. We talked with Stephen Borelli at Cuts, and he talked about the fact that AI made making tech backs so much easier for Cuts. And now you have this on top of it, where it seems like image generation is almost perfect at this point. I mean, I don't know how much better we can get with this now. Chris, what do you think about this? Where I don't know how much farther up we can go from here. It just seems unbelievable to the point where I don't even know what else I need other than just vibing out inside of chat, and then it's done. I don't know what else we need now.
Well, it seems like to me, this reminds me of our conversation with Bart over at Dad Gang and the work that he was doing with Kive at the time. And he was telling us, communicating to us, hey, as a one-man marketing team over at Dad Gang, he can do more than ever. And he was describing how there were other seven-figure brand founders that he knew. Of course, Dad Gang's further beyond that, but he knew of several seven-figure revenue founders whose entire Instagram feed was filled with pictures from Kive, and no one was the wiser. And I think that this kind of capability, it equips founders, lean marketing teams to do so much more. No photo shoot necessary. Here, take my product, put it in an incredible place. Create better details, and actually get my product right. Frame it this way. No, you got my logo wrong. I think it only fuels what we have been calling this new era of e-commerce rise of the underdog. It's the age of the one-man brand, the Superman marketer, the one-man marketing team. This kind of image generation, I think, only helps in a refined, detailed way. My question would be, when does this kind of specificity, voice modulation, refinement come to the video side of things? I'm I'm kind of like you. I'm not sure how much further this can be pushed.
Yeah, and it raises the floor. So the new standard for everybody now is just that much better. And so again, this is equipping marketers and saying, hey, you need to be this much better now because the tools out there are already making the floor that much better. So you need to kind of level up with these tools as they get even better.
Jack, show us this example that our boy Chase Diamond released this morning. He's using ChatGPT's new image generator here. And I think what he said is like, make me a new Huckberry homepage. Okay. You look at this. And then, I mean, it's a good looking homepage. Okay. The product pictures here, the models inside of it. I think the fonts that it's using, I would guess even the words, the verbiage that's on the page, stories that get you out there, sounds very Huckberry-ish. It's actually got the logos that Huckberry often references and sells: Flint and Tinder, Wills, Railwind, Go Ruck. I mean, they're all right there. One stop men's shop, and it looks like a legit website. It looks like it exists. I'm impressed. I'm impressed by this. Are
This
you?
this used to take so long. This used to take an ungodly amount of time. I don't know if folks were around when you used to have to do this manually, piece by piece, and then try to mock up different little this would
The
take
worst.
so long. It's
Yeah,
the worst. And
the
now he
worst.
just one-shotted it. I think I don't know how long that image generation took, probably maybe 1 to 2 minutes at most. That's unbelievable.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. Now look at these brand packs. So this is an A16Z Infra brand pack, which I'd never heard of. I don't know what A16Z Infra is. I mean, it sounds like infrastructure, which is kind of cool. And I think we're having some image loading problems here, but let me just read it to you while it comes up. GPT image 2 is insanely good at making brand kits. You give it a URL or a logo and a color guide, and it will pull together everything for you. I think it's fun to ask for some swag too. Jack, I don't know if you've got this and we can see it, but this A16Z infrastructure, and then you look at the hats, the bags, the bottles, the notebooks, I mean, it's even got the hex codes for the various for the various palettes that are being used. It's got the fonts, everything. It's extremely, extremely impressive. It's even got a Game Boy. It's got an A16Z infrastructure Game Boy that's been customized and made here. Very impressive. And then our last one, Jack, this is another example of brand pack that has been made here. This was just a made up company, made up products, a yo-yo company. It's going to be called Yo, 3 Yo's all together. Make me a brand, make me a brand pack. You know, what are my products, etc. You look at this, it's kind of mind blowing.
It's unbelievable. I mean, the ability to go from zero to brand now is basically non-existent. So you can go from zero to brand, fully built out concept slash pitch deck, which you could basically put into Claude and build out a zero to formulated, thought out brand with brand assets, think piece, research, all of the above. You could have that in probably half an hour at this point.
Zero to brand is a great, that's great phrasing. I like that.
Thank you. It's a bar
Zero
today.
to zero to brand in less than 5 minutes. Now, this is one thing that Claude doesn't do. Claude
Yeah.
doesn't, that. I mean, unless there's more that's happening now with Claude Design, which I mean, it makes sense. It makes sense. So maybe they're on equal footing now. But I'm still all in on Anthropic. But it makes me want to test this out. It makes me want to make a brand pack for Ecom Cowboy and see what happens there. I think maybe I'll test drive that thing today, and we'll see how it comes out. We have got Philip Lee, founder of ENAK Seasonings, coming into the show. But before he does, let's talk about Postscript, ladies and gentlemen. Focus is an amazing thing, is it not? Yes, it is. When you focus, you get outsized results, and that's what happens with Postscript when people make the switch from whatever SMS provider they are currently using, on average, plus 22% increase in SMS revenue. Now, I saw a whole lot more than that. We went from making very little money on SMS at all to being a top 1% account on their entire platform. And the secret of the sauce was I just did what they said. And what they are saying now is that you are leaving a ton of money on the table by not texting your customers back when they write you in and they ask a question after your typical SMS campaign. You either leave them on red, or even worse, you send them an autoresponder, go email us at this and that. And that is not the move, ladies and gentlemen. Go get the conversational report, direct-to-consumer.co/the conversational report. You're going to get great stats on how much money there is to be made there. And the good news is their AI shopper can have one-to-one brand appropriate, proper brand, voice, product, education, etc., with your customers at scale. Do that with Postscript's AI shopper. They are meeting the moment in SMS with AI's capabilities now as they continually evolve. Go talk with Postscript, work with them, tell them Colin and I sent you. Many thanks for them being part of the show. Now, we have what we have been hailing here for the entire year. This is the era of the one-man brand. We have Philip Lee, who is, I would call him a Renaissance man of sorts. He is a man of words, a man of old wise words that have been passed down for many generations. And now he has found his way into the CPG game, bringing exotic flavors to the barbecues and meats of those all across the South and beyond in the rest of the United States. We need to welcome him to the show. Philip Lee, founder of ENAK Seasonings. Get in here, Philip. Get in here, bud. There he is. All right. Hello, man. Welcome to the show. We appreciate you making the time and joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely, man. Philip, I discovered you on D2CX somewhere on the Twitter interwebs. And I think it was after, Colin, our conversation with Ryan of Maple Boost. And yes. Phil, are you in his tribal training community? Is that how you guys are connected?
Yes, I joined tribal training a few years ago just as an athlete. I've been in triathlon for a while and Was just looking to connect with some other athletes. I had no idea what tribal training was going to turn into for me, but here we are.
That's awesome, man. I would love if you would give Philip some just foundation backstory on you. Man, how did ENAK flavors, the seasonings that you have brought to us that people are loving, tasting, etc. And how did this whole thing begin? What's the backstory of you arriving here?
Yeah, there was no master plan. It just kind of happened. I wasn't thinking about starting a business. I was a couple of years ago just kind of feeling stuck in life. There were no rungs left on the ladder at work, and without any words, it had kind of been made obvious that I wasn't really wanted there anymore. And so trying to figure out what was going to be next and wasn't finding the answers. And one night in September of 2024, I cooked a tri-tip at home. I had a kind of a steak seasoning that I'd used for years, but made a couple of tweaks based on a video I'd seen from Chef Gruel on Twitter and some other ingredients I've been playing with, and made this tri-tip. And I sat down to eat, and I just thought, this is one of the best things I've ever tasted, and had the thought that I'd pay money for it. And also just happened to have some bottles of Kentucky Rebel Scum hot sauce sitting on the table.
There we go.
Their story, they'd blown up earlier in the year. Coincidentally, Chef Gruel had given them an endorsement, and they hadn't been able to keep their product hadn't been able to keep their product in stock ever since that endorsement. It took them a long time to get caught up and increase capacity. But anyway, I'm just looking at these bottles of hot sauce, and I'm like, why not me? Why not just see what happens? If someone else can do it, I can do it.
Exactly. Why not, Philip Lee?
Why not? And so just kind of got started from there. And I had no idea what I was doing. I didn't know anything about starting a business, didn't know anything about e-com. It's a completely new world to me. But Ryan had given a speech a couple of weeks earlier titled Interaction with Boldness. And that was still fresh in my mind. And it's just kind of like, well, what's one thing I can do to get the ball rolling, to get moving? And just ordered some empty spice bottles off Amazon, standardized the formulas. I'd always done things by feel. I didn't actually have a formula for these things. It was just throwing stuff together. And so
I think we lost him
for a second.
Oh, there he is. He's back.
Okay. Yeah. So standardizing formulas. Coach told me to make an offering to the team. And so I sent out a little 4-pack sampler. I think I charged like $15, which is just really kind of covering shipping and not even all of the costs, but it was just getting started. And so I sent those flavors out, and there were a couple of things that came out of that first offering. The 4-pepper blend, which was the steak seasoning, and my taco seasoning, like, got a ton of positive comments on the flavors of those. People loved those. I also included a kind of a Chinese flavor. I lived in China for a while, lived in Indonesia for a while, had a Chinese flavor and Indonesian flavor, and threw those in there. I didn't want to create like the 1,000 different honey barbecue rub that everybody else has. I wanted to offer something new and different. Didn't get as many comments on the flavor of those two, but I did include a little printout, a little one-page that kind of gave some background on what the blends were, recommended uses, and people loved the stories. Like I mentioned that when I was in China, like some of my best memories were sitting at a little plastic table on the Beijing sidewalk eating skewered lamb. And that really connected with people. People loved the story. They said it just made them feel like they were there. And so out of that first offering, kind of set the direction for where the brand was going to go. We're going to have good flavors, but they're going to be unique. Going to do location-based, and it's going to be my life story that I'm telling with seasonings, and just kind of that interaction with Boldness, just every day. What's one thing I can do to move this from idea to reality? Got connected with a co-packer, developed the logo, the branding, all that. And it was just 7 months from the first idea to, it was actually a year ago yesterday, I had the actual product in hand.
Congratulations, man.
That's
That's unbelievable
story on how we got started.
I love it.
That's incredible.
Oh, did we lose him again?
He's
back. He's back.
He's back.
He's back. Go ahead,
Sorry,
Colin.
don't know what's going on, but
Sure, all good. Could you talk to the folks who don't know what it's like kind of working with a co-packer? I think that's kind of an undiscovered space that not a lot of people know exactly what that is.
Yeah. So I, in my early days, started doing some research, and like I could make these in my home and I can sell them in Alabama if I get a cottage industry license, but to ship across state lines, like they have to be made in an FDA approved facility. And so
Exactly.
kind of looked into what that was going to be and just started researching, found there were several out there, and finally reached out to the one that I just kind of intuitively felt was the right one for me. And we started a conversation. I sent off samples and my formulas. They sent them their replications back to me, and everything was good. And so we just kind of went from there. It's kind of a slow process and sometimes frustrating because they're in Maryland and I'm here in Alabama, and it's email. And sometimes I don't get an immediate response to the email, and nothing happens as fast as you want it to. And, kind of learning and through that process of how this all works. But it was, in a sense, very surprisingly easy just to reach out and get a conversation started, and within just a few months have the product on hand.
Philip, this reminds me of a conversation we had with Ben Hindman of Lalique, who is now making electrolyte lollipops. He was coming from a software background, and he said the same thing. Stepping into CPG, never done it before. How do we find a co-packer? How do we get the formulations? And then maybe I can't get a hold of them, and then let's taste it. Did you have any experience with and getting the formulas out there and then getting them back and taste tests, adjust, et cetera, anything like that?
No, this was all completely new to me.
Wow.
I guess with spice blends, it's probably a little bit easier than some of the other products like the supplements, where you've got to get the flavors right so you're not tasting the magnesium or whatever in the supplements. With the spice blends, it's pretty much just matching the formulas. They had to make a few changes. Like a couple of the blends look pretty different than my original one did.
I see.
In fact, one of them, the Chinese-based flavor that I have, like he emailed back and he was like, "We made this and it does not look like the sample you sent us." And so he showed me the formula, and I said, "Yeah, that's the formula I sent you. Like that should be right." And so they sent me the sample, and it does look different than what I made, but the taste is the same, and it's the same with my ginger coffee rub. Like it looks different than what I had, but the flavor matches. Like I didn't tell them I sent them 8. I've got 6 released so far, but I didn't have any complaints with any of them the first try. I thought they were right.
Philip, dig into these Asian flavors that you're talking about here. Not usual for a man of Alabama to be trumping across across the international world and picking up all these flavors in exotic countries. I mean, how did you get to China, to Indonesia, and picking up these flavors? Give us a story behind this.
So, this recent period of trying to figure out what's next in life wasn't the first time I've been through that. A few years ago, I was planning to go to seminary. I was going to study to be in ministry, and kind of the same thing. I was trying to figure out exactly what I wanted to do in that regard. And somewhere along the way, I ended up in China teaching English, and ended up getting connected with the international church in Beijing, and doing a lot of work there. In the international church, I met a girl from Indonesia, ended up marrying her, and that's where Indonesia came into the picture. And so, again, not part of any master plan, just some things that happened. But I wasn't working. My background is in food service. I've been in restaurants a lot.
Is it really?
Yeah. And so wasn't doing that in Asia, but of course I love food, and enjoyed exploring and trying all the different foods that, of course, there's, we think certain things about Chinese food here in the States, but you go over there and there's this whole spectrum of Chinese food. And so just learning the different foods from the different regions, the different flavors, and then going even beyond being able to visit Korea and live in Malaysia, live in Indonesia, being able to experience these different places and the different food cultures. Really enjoyed it. And, you know, it was funny when I was over there, it's like I wanted to recreate the food from home. And had to find the ingredients. Like there's no tacos in Beijing.
I can't imagine there's any tacos in Beijing, Philip.
A lot of international foods, but like no taco packets, no tortillas. Like I had to figure out how to make those while I was there. And then I came back home and well, now I'm missing the foods from over there. And so I'm trying to recreate those. And that's really kind of the background of where the international flavors came from.
Well, that makes so much sense. Picking up your experience there, your food service background, and then bring that back over here and finding a way to sell it on the internet today. Go ahead, Colin.
What do you have looking forward to in 2026? I mean, we're kind of approaching that, you know, we passed that year mark of kind of the culmination of the brand. And so what are you moving forward to and what do you see kind of as what you're projecting forward now in the rest of the year?
That's a good question. Kind of like I didn't know what I was doing when I was getting started. I still don't know what I'm doing. I'm still just figuring this all out as I go along. I've been the one-man show. Like I haven't brought in any outside help. I haven't done any of that. Sure, it would have sped some things up, but you know, the online stuff happened a little bit slower than I was hoping. I'm sure I'm not the first person who's gone into this with unrealistic expectations of what was going to happen when I launched, thinking that all my friends, like people I know in real life and all the people I've connected with on Twitter are all going to buy and are all going to tell everyone. And that didn't happen. But what I did learn pretty early on is that if we go out and do vendor markets, if like people can actually see the actual bottles, put their hands on them, if they can taste the product, we do pretty well. Depending on the size of the event and the location. If it's a food-focused event like a farmer's market, we tend to do pretty well. We've gone to local mall a few times, haven't done quite as well. People at the mall are not really thinking about seasonings or food.
Okay.
Just through kind of a whole process of identifying what's going to be successful and what's not. But the in-person stuff tends to do really well and gives us a pretty good foundation. While I'm still trying to figure out the online stuff, just continuing to tell my story, just put stuff out there. Just last week, I shared a post of every day. I try to do one post that kind of tells a little bit of the personal side of myself or the business or how I'm building. And one of those last week didn't go like viral, but it did get a lot more attention than usual. Some larger accounts shared my story about building the business to create freedom for myself and for my family.
Absolutely.
That I'm not trying to live in luxury. I just want to be able to provide for my family and have freedom and leave a legacy for my daughter. And that really resonated with people. It got a lot of attention. Went from like 600 to 1,200 followers on Twitter. And
great.
Over the weekend, the 3 best days in the history of the business were Saturday, Sunday, and Tuesday. So
all right, let's go, baby.
Online stuff is kind of slowly taking off. I've dabbled in advertising a little bit, but I don't know what I'm doing. And not surprisingly, that hasn't done well. But just continuing to learn and try to figure out what's going to work and lean into what's working.
That's the power of posting. Power of posting every day. You never know. You never know what's going to get shared, what's going to go viral, what's what's going to bring people to the site and get them excited about what you have to come. And I love that you're bringing. I love that you're bringing these some of these Asian flavors over to barbecue and smoking meats and all the things over here in the States. I've done a little bit of travel through. Some Southeast Asia, Taiwan, etc. But I've never tried this ginger coffee rub that seems to come from Indonesia. I find that to be very unique. And man, we look forward to keeping up with you and following along. I think the reason that you are doing this is the same reason that we all get into e-commerce. Man, it promises freedom. It promises freedom. Yeah. There is a real opportunity to create actual lived freedom. Not that necessarily needs to end in opulence for anyone involved, but to be able to experience that for your family in your home and to be able to bring a product that people love and know and enjoy elsewhere is a wonderful thing. Philip, we appreciate you joining the show. We're going to be keeping up with you, and we look forward to seeing how things develop, brother.
Thank you. It's been great to be here.
Makes me want to try that coffee rub. I think that could be interesting on some Texas style brisket that has been pleasantly smoked, which, by the way, we had some incredible brisket and beef ribs last night with Chris.
Could have put it on that.
We could have put it on that.
Yeah.
Could have put it on that. Could have put it on that. I think some of this needs to make its way to the Texas Hill Country. I know Alabama loves it, but some of those exotic barbecue flavors need to make their way here. Before we get to our next batch of stories, ladies and gentlemen, let's talk about incense. No, we all want better ads. Yes, we do. We do. But actually getting humans involved in creating a winsome product that scales you up into the right, very disjointed and a continual headache, manually negotiating usage rights, finding the right creators, etc. That is why Incense exists. It is the all-in-one UGC and influencer marketing platform that actually makes creative scalable. Vetted creator marketplace. Okay, not just you finding people, but them applying to you. Automated influencer outreach, built-in campaign management. You get content as little as 14 days. So much better than just finding a random TikTok and hoping that it changes the trajectory of your revenue. This is about building real relationships with real humans, getting real creative that can scale you up and to the right. They have just released the UGC Playbook 2.0. You will catch it at that URL scrolling across the screen. Go there. It's going to tell you why the era of Andromeda is a good thing for your ad account and what is the path to profitability with your ads forward. It is modular UGC. Yes, that is the case. Go to Incense, get their free trial, test drive that platform today. Tell them Colin I sent you. Many thanks for them being part of the show. Now, Colin, did you know? I'm going to think that you do not. You do not, because I didn't. And I'm kind of hoping that you do not know about this. Did you know that resale as a service is a thing? Not SaaS, but RAS. Resale as a service is a thing. Did you know this?
No, what's RAS?
Okay, resale as a service. This comes to us via a news story about Chubbies that has just dropped. I found this out in the middle of this article. So Chubbies has just launched its own resale site, refusing to just allow all of the market share and additional revenue to be gobbled up on ThreadUp and eBay, etc. They have launched their own resale site, which I think is really smart. We know, because the trend that we have covered here, people are discovering and actually shopping resale first when they are looking for new clothes. But in the middle of this article, you're going to discover, as I just did, that resale as a service is a thing, and it is available for your brand to appropriate today. Okay, now let's read some of this. Why Short Shorts brand Chubbies just launched a resale site. Let's read some of this, and then I want to tell you about Treat resale as a service because I think it is very unique. Chubbies, the brand whose flagship product is shorts with a mere 5.5-inch inseam, favorite of yours, Colin, correct?
Oh, yeah.
Has never taken itself too seriously. In 2012, just a year after the brand launched, it published an online open letter to Michael Jeffries, then CEO of Abercrombie & Fitch, urging the retailer to quit their long cargo shorts cold turkey. They were acquired by Solo Brands in 2021. They did not have a return policy, meaning, or they had a whimsical take on it. Okay. Whimsical with its return policy, printing this message on the stitched cardboard hang tag of its line swim shorts. If this tag is removed, we assume you wore these shorts and therefore they're no longer returnable, because that's just nasty. Okay. Not returnable, but now resellable with resale as a service company Treat, T-R-E-E-T, Treat. Chubbies recently launched a resale website, Afterparty. Its landing page, which as this was published, featured images primarily of men sporting trunks poolside and at the beach, includes used bathing suits for sale. So what? Besides Chubby's much promoted elastic waistbands and stretch fabrics, what gives? Inseams like old times. First sale integrity of cleanliness that I expect out of our goods is not something I feel an obligation to maintain when it is secondhand. You know what you're getting. If you're comfortable with a deep wash and wearing something when it costs $18, I'm okay with that being part of the offer. This is Rainier Castillo, Chubby's president and co-founder, talking about why they are now entering into this. Used Chubby swim trunks have done a brisk business on resale marketplaces, including eBay. As with used swimwear, Castillo said his attitude about resale has evolved. The brand began discussions with Treat a few years ago. Apparently, Resale-as-a-Service has been around for some time as a part of a consumer-facing sustainability message, alluding to their popular argument for resale that it keeps unwanted clothing out of landfills. The relationship between Chubby's, which started as a DTC brand, has with its retailers sell its new products. Now they are availing themselves to capture much of this resale market. 2025 report by McKinsey in partnership with Business of Fashion found that 84% of U.S. resale shoppers do so to discover new brands. And once they purchased a brand's products secondhand, 58% subsequently purchase new items from those brands. Now, I loved this when Patagonia a few years ago debuted their resale marketplace, so to speak.
Yeah.
Didn't have to go to the various third-party platforms to,
Yeah.
find the product that you want that maybe you didn't want to pay full price for because Patagonia is expensive, but you like the brand, you like the clothes, you want to get them. Now Chubby's is doing the same thing, and apparently Treat as a partner allows you to do this at scale and not involve your team to learn an entirely new process to capture all of that possible revenue that is out there for you. This is totally new for me. I think it's an incredible idea. Your thoughts on this, Colin? I want to know more about Treat, and I want to see other brands do this, especially as resale continues to thrive and take up market share from retail, et cetera.
Yeah, I'm confused why they wouldn't just make this a secondary website in-house on Shopify and why they would have to leverage Treat. Why couldn't they just take this in-house and build a subsequent website that would be similar to the New Balance Reconsidered, which is New Balance's reselling site. So I'm a little confused also why they're doing this from a margin perspective or just maybe it's an efficiency perspective, but I would have built this in-house and had more control over it from the get-go.
So they do. They have their own website. It's called afterparty.chubbysshorts.com. So they've got the website. Jack, if you can pull this up for us. This is afterparty.chubby. See if you can navigate just to the website itself. Yeah, afterparty.chubbysshorts.com. You can see up there at the top. I'm looking at it now. You can click one click, you get to Chubby's main store. But I think what's being solved here is that Chubby's themselves doesn't have to work on bringing in all of the used Chubby's shorts that people want to sell. They don't have to
Yeah.
work on like repackaging that, cleaning that, etc. I think that's the piece that Treat is handling on their behalf, allowing them to gain more revenue from those products, a second take at revenue from those products that would have been sold by, third-party sellers, people who had already bought it, etc. To
Yeah.
me, this is a revenue capture opportunity for a second round of products that they already created. I would guess they are sharing a fair portion of that with Treat, but I think it's the operations piece that Treat is solving. Although I don't know specifically, I'd like to know more.
Yeah, I'd be curious also. I mean, you mentioned that, but basically 80+% of customers are using this as a discovery method. So this is basically a top funnel kind of opportunity here. I would be curious the LTV of the customers that come in through this website directly compared to their main website. So it is, you have the ability here to sell something where you get a little piece of revenue from it. It's a great discovery method. but I would be curious about the total LTV of these customers coming through this. And also, it's a bit limited because you can't really offer them everything. It's kind of like these are older models. These aren't really the latest and greatest that we just launched, but you're hoping that they migrate.
And I really don't know. I don't know how many people are going to be discovering them for the first time here. Although for sure, I mean that's the trend, is that people are discovering brands for the first time, going through resale. I would guess on Poshmark, et cetera, other places like that, and then buying new thereafter. That's what the data tells us. I'm looking at treat.co right now, and it seems to be that they have a way to fuel repeat sales, move inventory, build lifelong loyalty. I wonder if you go this route with Patagonia, like Patagonia did, like Chubby's has done here. I guess I have more questions than I really do have answers at this point. But I wonder if this means that more and more of those offerings where people would discover you there, Poshmark, ThreadUp, etc. Now all of those future postings of reselling your products are more congregated here in this one place. I would imagine there's a buyback opportunity, etc. You give it up, people, can get a little bit for their money back, etc. I have more questions than I do answers, but I find this fascinating, and because the trend of resale is so strong, I kind of hope there will be more in this vein and here in the future.
Yeah, completely. I'd love to see how this plays out the next, 6 to 12 months for them.
Returns can't be, I'm reading from treat.co right now. Returns that can't be restocked bleed margin. Excess inventory gets sold for pennies. Loyal customers buy and sell on third-party platforms. Branded resale brings it all back. Recapturing margin, clearing inventory, and keeping your customers in your brand's world. It's good copy. I'd love to hear from Treat. I'd love to hear from Treat about this, because I think if resale as a service is a real thing, apparently they've been doing it for years. I'd like to know more about it. Next story, eComFuel trend report is out apparently. And this tweet comes to us from Jake, the ad nerd, I believe, freshly hired on at Tycoon. Yeah, growth and grit at Tycoon Digital, was previously at Huckberry, knower of ball. Jake says this: 6th eComFuel trends report just dropped. 300 store owners, 3.5 billion in combined revenue. He said, I nerd out every time Udarian launches these. A few things stood out to me, but the AI section is worth sitting with. This, I think, is very interesting, especially with all the hubbub about AI in the D2C community. AI isn't generating ROI from this report. Not yet, anyway. 72% of owners have jumped in with AI, and here's the data. Of the 72% of owners that have jumped in with AI, revenue growth, 26.7% for adopters, 27.8% for non-adopters. Do you find that fascinating?
Not good. This is not good.
Not good. Net margins, basically a coin flip. Net income growth, 32.7% for adopters, 55.3% for non-adopters.
Bad. Very bad.
The owners sitting out of AI trends for now are expanding profit at a quicker clip, plus 22.6% versus the ones leaning in. The tools are real, improving every quarter. Just look at what Claude shipped in the last week alone. But here's what I'm seeing with the owners I speak to. Jake, staying current cost time, learning cost time, integrating tools into real workflows cost time, and time is the one thing a founder running a growing store cannot spare. Lastly, this isn't a young person's game. Operators in their 50s adopt at 80%. Operators in their 30s adopt at 66%. The 40 to 55 crowd is more likely to be building with Claude Code than the 30s crowd. I would not have guessed that. I would definitely.
Any sense to me?
It doesn't make sense, right? I would not have guessed that. I would not have guessed
that.
Not
at all.
Operators Go ahead.
I was going to say that there was a key stat that you skipped over there, the revenue per employee stat. Did you pull that up as well?
Yeah. It's there. Well, so it's there in the graphic. Jake, I don't think touched on it here, but yeah, revenue per employee, 823K for AI adopters, revenue per employee, 936 per employee for non-adopters.
That is a frame-breaking, shattering stat. This is the opposite of what was promised with AI, and you're basically saying you're becoming less valuable as a company per employee, and your net income growth is substantially slower, at some points half as slow as non-adopters. This is probably some of the worst news for the AI bull case that you could possibly have.
It's interesting. It's interesting too. Average employees for both of these groups, AI adopters, non-adopters, 9.9 versus 10.7. It's basically the same. We're talking about 10 people. We're talking about 10 to
We
11 people.
we need to have a term that people are using for AI procrastination, where they're using AI to procrastinate on the real problems that are in their business. And it's basically just sucking up time and not actually moving the ball forward. But they feel productive because they've been using AI, and they were talking with AI today and they were using up tokens. There's really going to be some huge impacts for this because people feel like they're productive. They feel like they're moving the needle forward, but they're actually not working on the right things for their business. They're just talking with AI. And so they feel like, oh, AI is in the business now, blah, blah, blah. But they're not actually doing anything pushing the revenue forward for the business.
Yeah, this is definitely narrative breaking.
Yeah.
This has been all of the rage. And actually, Jake here in a follow-up comment, he says, knowing all of this above, still, it's wild to see this graphic as a closing punchline. I don't think I gave this to Jack, but I'll read it for everybody. AI is most assuredly the highest priority alongside automation for the rest of the year. 43%. This just has a 43, doesn't have a percent. But second is marketing and advertising at 36. Simplify, focus, cut SKUs is at 29. Team and hiring next at 27. New products and launches at 24. The rest are much, much lower. Exit, sale, profitability, pricing, supply chain, fulfillment, etc. AI automation takes the cake. I mean, it's still what everybody's excited about. This is what we need to bring into the business, etc. But as far as actual revenue right now, as far as actual revenue is concerned, despite AI being the highest priority, non-adopters are doing better. Non-adopters are doing better. And I think that it may come down to what you have highlighted here. Perhaps it's a distraction. Reinvigorating workflows, learning the tools, etc., developing new things, feeling productive, but that not showing up in the P&L.
Not good. That last graphic that we just pulled up is an amazing graphic for Shireen and growth capital, because that is basically her thesis entirely. And now that is the number one priority, basically, for 2026. She's going to hit a home run. They're going to have so much revenue.
And I wonder if maybe brands would be better off allowing persons like Shireen and others to take on the task of automating workflows, etc., and bringing that into the business instead of focusing and spending time on it. I say that because right now, from eComFuel, it's the non-adopters who are doing better, who have not been focused or distracted otherwise, remaking their business with AI. It's very interesting. It's very interesting.
Wow.
Jake's take: learning costs time, integrating tools into real workflows costs time, and time is the one thing a founder running a growing store cannot spare. Very interesting for us to stay locked in on. I'd love to hear from Andrew. I'd love to hear from Andrew his thoughts on this. I'd love to bring Andrew on the show and hear about it. Andrew, if this clip makes its way to you, come on the show and talk with us about this report, because it's truly narrative breaking for us and something we want to follow up on. Last story of this section, nostalgia core. Nostalgia core is very much in the Gen Pop zeitgeist, so much so Instagram released a new filter that imitates a camera from the early 2000s and 90s, but did so by taking your image and creating a new AI image that would mimic that with retro nostalgia vibes on top, probably mainly Flash is what I would guess. We're seeing an example here on screen right now. This thing went hot. Okay, this tweet comes to us from Pop Time describing what happened here. The tweet itself got 7.1 million views, but what happened next shows you the demand for things like this. Okay, this next tweet is from Lorenzo. Instagram launched its nostalgia core aesthetic filter. It was generating a new image each time. It went viral, post hitting 100,000 plus likes. But it was so popular, the compute cost was too high to run at scale, and Instagram pulled it within 24 hours.
Yikes.
Isn't that crazy?
I don't know where that kind of puts us as a society, where nostalgia is so powerful right now that Instagram can't handle the compute power. That's probably not great. It is not great that that is kind of the level we are approaching.
Well, I'm here for it. I love all things nostalgia. I have even someone close to me even remarked as of late that I'm too much on nostalgia, so much that I don't remember the past correctly. That may be the case. It may be the case. Perhaps I am romanticizing the past, but I am here for it. And this same creator wrote about this at Lasagna Studio. Pull this up for us, Jack. I think it'd be good for us to go through this. Wrote on nostalgia core. Now we've had Oren create videos about this, remarking about bringing CD players back and things like this. It's something that we've seen, but I think this trend is worth noting and worth perhaps building upon for brands and creators out there. And this thread, I think, really puts it in detail. Consumer Social Insight Report. Nostalgia core is emerging as one of the defining consumer trends of 2026, not because people want the past back, but because they miss how the past felt. That's a bar. That's a bar there. Over the past decade, social moved from connection to performance. What once felt playful and exploratory, like 2016 Instagram, became optimized, performative, and always on 2026 TikTok, 2026 Instagram. More people are openly expressing malcontent with how social media works today. This isn't just a vibe shift. 81% of Gen Z say they wish they could disconnect from digital devices more easily. Reminds me of that block product people are attaching to their smartphones, not allowing them to use it. When platforms hit saturation, the same cycle appears again and again: expansion, saturation, fatigue, and recalibration. And some of the images here, detail this, which I think is very interesting. From post-social to proto-social to mass social to hyper-social. For 2026, the recalibration is taking the shape of nostalgia core, a collective pull toward a time when being online felt simpler, more human, and less performative. And then they detail 4 cultural signals of how nostalgia is playing a role. The quiet coming back of blogging. Substack. Anybody heard of Substack? Quiet coming back of blogging. Offline being a status signal. We've read about this, featured Eugene Healy's writing. Offline being a status signal. It's a flex. I don't need to be online. I was at an event that nobody photographed. I didn't put it on Instagram. You barely knew about it because it's a flex. You didn't know that I was there because I don't have to be online. People miss when tech had limits: iPods, digicams, wired headphones. And so we had Carson Hoffman on here, and he was talking about how he thinks it would be great. Actually, maybe this was you. He was talking about how you think it would be great for the iPod or the nano iPod to come back. Was that you that was discussing that?
Carson.
That was Carson.
Yeah.
Wired headphones and iPods will be back big time in 2026. Lasagna Studio says here, with secondhand prices already skyrocketing And the nostalgic interfaces like the former Xbox website. We've been seeing this come up on website designs. And the meme lord is king of this. I mean, his whole app feels like you're on it feels like you're on the internet, you're on your computer in the year 2000. It's like Y2K. It's like a Y2K design that everybody loves. So there's more of this, but I think the real question is like, what does this mean for brands product wise? What can you develop? How to lean into this without being chuggy or cringy, etc. I like this. I like this just because I miss that time of life. But what do you think? Does this mean Tumblr makes a comeback? Does this mean there's more iPods and CD players to come? How do you think? How do you think people lean into this in a winsome way in 2026?
I'd love for Tumblr to make a comeback. I had a Tumblr and no one can find it because it's extremely private and no one will ever find it. I think this would be great if we could have a segment on the show where you and I have super vintage, retro, nostalgic filters, and we do a segment on the show where it looks like folks are watching old TV and just kind of tune it into, Carson or one of the older talk show hosts, and we have the filters going on, or we have a black and white segment. Black and white segment. We go real vintage.
Maybe we go way back. Maybe we go black and white, etc. I definitely see, and you'll notice at the start of our show, we've got that old TV VCR glitch, etc. I love it. I love it. And you see
Yeah.
that all over the place now in videos that people create. I wonder if this leads to, and I hope it does, because I think it's where people win. I hope this leads to more IRL experiences for brands, with creators, actual connection, etc. Leaning into that. Maybe none of that or very little of that needs to actually be captured and put on the stories, etc. Maybe you just let the IRL experience happen and let people post about it later on. There may be real credence to that because you're curating for them an experience that feels nostalgic. It feels secret. It feels like they're on the inside of a club, a luxurious experience that others could not have. I wonder if it leads to more creative around true craft and showing off how we developed this product and how long it took and how many hands were involved, how many man hours went to creating this feature for product development. I wonder if there's things like that that would really resonate with audiences today that we've discussed and shown. I wonder if that leans into that nostalgic core in a way that even brands don't recreate their whole product line or launch a new product in this vein, that they can tap into that and get more likes and wins and shares and win hearts and minds in 2026.
Yeah, I mean, we have two contrasting stories today. We have the new image generation from ChatGPT, which makes basically perfect images, whatever you want, hyper perfect, the best quality in the world. And then you have this rise of nostalgia where people don't want perfect. They don't want the super crisp. And so maybe folks are going to be using this image generation to actually make a ton of nostalgia feeling images instead, which is kind of weird because it's like this roundabout way of like, I'm using AI, the best model in the entire world, to build nostalgia images. I don't know where we go from here.
I'll tell you what, I do find myself longing for a Polaroid camera, and those are back.
Polaroids are great. Yeah, they're great.
Polaroid camera, take the picture, prints it out. You actually take away something physical. You remember the early 2000s when every teenager had a whole wall filled with Polaroids,
Yes.
experiences, etc. There's something so awesome about
It was the
that.
best.
I think maybe at the next Commerce Roundtable in San Diego, we need to bring a Polaroid and we need to take a picture of everybody who comes on the show after they come on.
Absolutely.
I think that would be
Absolutely.
great, actually.
With us. And it's like a
With
bam,
us.
bam Polaroid. I love that. And do a little post of everybody post show. That's awesome.
Wouldn't that be
That's fire.
great?
That's gas.
Maybe we should have
That's
done that at
fire.
the dinner that we had.
We should have done that at the dinner. That would have been so sweet because we see this a lot. We're preparing for our wedding, and people will put Polaroid cameras in the middle of the dinner
Oh
tables
yeah, yeah, yeah.
for guests to mess around. And so we could have put like a couple, maybe two or three, and it kind of becomes the whole thing. You get them all done, email them out to people, and they just love them.
Nostalgia maxing.
Nostalgia masking.
We should have had, I don't know if a step and repeat is too much, but maybe we could have had a little step and repeat, some Polaroids. There's something to that.
Yeah. What's the show? What was the show on MTV? TRL. We should just start rebranding our whole thing to TRL.
Go
And we can have
TRL with it.
but we got to have the early 2000s haircuts if you're down to do it. Are you down?
Yeah.
No?
I don't know if I can bring what I was rocking in the early 2000s back. I don't know if my wife would let me do that. I don't know if she would
Yeah.
sign up for that one.
Mine won't either, but we could do it for a show or two.
I definitely used to watch TRL every day.
Exactly.
I confess.
Who was that guy? Who was that host?
Carson Daly, man.
Carson Daly. Exactly. He was the man. Oh my God.
Yeah,
he was the
the
coolest
man.
guy in the world.
TRL live, by the way. It was live.
TRL Live. Yeah. And then they had the live audience, and it was like you had like Ashley Simpson in there, Hillary Duff.
Exactly.
I was like, that was peak.
It was peak.
It was peak.
Peak.
Green Day performing live. Oh,
Exactly. GWOT Core, Great War on Terror Core. But anyway, we'll call it nostalgia maxing. Nostalgia
Yeah.
Core. Here for it. Great time of life. And let's bring it back into 2026. Before we move into our last batch of stories, let's talk about Seguno. Seguno, ladies and gentlemen. It is the only marketing suite that lives entirely inside of Shopify. What's that mean? Your emails, your pop-ups, your banners, your reviews, it's all there where you already work and play every day. If you don't have a full-time email marketer on your team, Seguno was built for you. Lean teams with big aspirations. Okay, big email. Big email is coming to you with complexity and ever-increasing costs. Seguno is bringing you one-click automations. Actual humans that can help you are reachable and will help you navigate anything that you want to, even on Shopify as well. They work with Shopify and Canva. They've got integrations everywhere. And this is the reason why they won Shopify's 2024 Build App of the Year. Okay. They have brought to us a winsome way to bring email retention forward for 2026. The one-man brand, the Superman marketer, the one-man marketing team. Right now, they have the advanced Shopify segmentation playbook available at the URL below, seguno.com/advanced-shopify-segmentation-playbook. Go and get that. Test drive the platform for free. Tell them Colin I sent you. They'll probably extend your free trial to 30 days. Many thanks for Seguno being part of the show. Now, to round things out here, there were a few jokes that were made in our conversations about Claude Mythos over the past 2 days. That did happen. And turns out there has been a Mythos leak.
Oh, gosh.
People not associated with the $40 trillion plus companies that are supposed to only have access to Claude Mythos. There is an unauthorized group that has gained access, supposedly not for bad intentions, simply to try it out. Let me give you some details. Much has been made of Mythos and its purported power and AI product designed for enterprise security that in the wrong hands could become a potent hacking tool, according to the company. Now, Bloomberg has reported that a private online forum, the members of which have not been publicly identified, has managed to gain access to the tool through a third-party vendor. We're investigating a report claiming unauthorized access to Mythos preview through one of our third-party vendor environments. Anthropic spokesperson told TechCrunch. Company said that so far it's found no evidence that the supposedly unauthorized activity has impacted Anthropic's systems. The unauthorized group tried a number of different strategies to gain access to the model, including using access enjoyed by the person who was interviewed by Bloomberg. Crazy. That person is currently employed at a third-party contractor that works for Anthropic. Members of the group are part of a Discord channel that seeks out information about unreleased AI models. The group has been using Mythos regularly since gaining access to it and provided evidence to Bloomberg in the form of screenshots and a live demonstration of the software. Kind of crazy. Okay. The group gave a live demonstration of Mythos to Bloomberg. Okay. Bloomberg reports that the group, which supposedly gained access to the tool on the same day, it was publicly announced the same day it was publicly announced they gained access, made an educated guess about the model's online location based on knowledge about the format Anthropic has used for other models. The group in question is interested in playing around with new models, not wreaking havoc with them, the source told the outlet. And we shall see what is to come. But if Terminator 2 is coming from Mythos, there is an unauthorized group that has been accessing it literally since it was announced and made public that it exists. Your thoughts on this?
This is like a plot of a movie where like the hackers get access to the thing that you don't want them to have access to. This is a nightmare. I mean, I would say the one rare L for Anthropic that we've seen in the past several months. You don't want to see this happen. I don't know this is Anthropic's fault because it was through a third party. I'd be curious what happens to that third party as a result of this. If they're saying, "Hey, you can't be trusted anymore. We're going to cut access for this beta basically from you completely." It's pretty wild and not good. Really, really not good.
Rabba Rahil, formerly of Triple O,
Yeah.
formerly of Fermat, now doing new and exciting things in the go-to-market space. He had an interesting take on Claude altogether, that their marketing has not been good. He would be doing it very differently. But hey, maybe on the back of eComFuel's recent reports, maybe we would all profit a little more if we worried about AI less. I think if there is something to worry about with AI, it's coming from these new developing models that perhaps will generate the robots from Terminator 2.
Oh, yeah.
But hey, I think what this goes to show us is that there's really nothing that's safe. If it's out there and it exists, people are going to find a way in and use it, and be interesting to see what it develops. But we'll all continue selling our widgets on the interwebs until then. Now, Meta is spying on its employees. I'm not sure if this is a story or if this is just standard fare. This tweet comes to us from Stock MKT News. Mark Zuckerberg and Meta Platforms just sent a memo to employees saying Meta Platforms is installing a new tracking software on the computers of all employees in the United States so it can train its AI. That's the important piece. So it can train its AI. Meta said the tracking tool will run on a list of work-related apps and websites. The tool will capture stuff like mouse movements, keystrokes, and screenshots of what the employees are seeing on their screens. This comes from Reuters. Tweet itself got 2.7 million views. I'm not sure that this is much of a story. Training its AI, cool, but doesn't every giant company have some sort of tracking software on all of its laptops anyways, that are looking at your mouse movements and what you're typing and what websites you're looking at? I'm not sure that there's really much here, unless the new part is that it trains their AI and makes it better, and perhaps trains it in such a way that can replace you. Your thoughts on this? Is this a nothing burger?
This is not a nothing burger. You hit the nail on the head with that very last sentence. If it trains the AI to replace you, basically, this is kind of figuring out, okay, here's the, hodgepodge of tasks that this employee or these multiple employees are doing now. Are our AI models feasible enough to now replace this person entirely? What is the cost of our total AI models? How does this compare to the person's salary, etc.? So this isn't that great. And they kind of chalk it up to, oh, we're training the models, blah, blah, blah. But they're really kind of figuring out, I would say, most likely, and this is sad news, they're probably figuring out the next group of people at Meta to lay off using this software.
Not an exciting take. Not an exciting take,
Not
but
really.
Perhaps one of woe that we should heed. What I will say is I firmly believe there's never been a better time to be an entrepreneur. than in 2026. All of what the AI tools can do and what is available to us on the interwebs today. Hey, Shopify might make the argument that the only safe job ever is entrepreneurship. And so if you're going to get replaced, if your white collar job is going to go away in the future, why not build the skills today and get into ecom, baby? Get in here. D2C welcomes thee. And what I can say is, coming out of Commerce Roundtable, I feel like this is the best time ever to be selling something on the internet. The one-man brand is here, the rise of the underdog. We've got image generation. We've got websites that can be spun up. Even you can be like Philip Lee and bring your food culinary service industry to bear on the interwebs today. Talk to a co-packer, get you a product, and start selling that thing. I'm bullish. I'm bullish on entrepreneurship, even if the AIs do take our nice jobs inside of Fang and other places. Maybe it's just time. Maybe it's just time to go full throttle, push in the chips, and get on the internet in a serious way as an entrepreneur in 2026. Am I wrong? Am I crazy?
You are totally right. And I think more people need to look at this moment the same way that Sarah Levinger is looking at this moment in regard to the Gutenberg press and her talk with how that is going to basically revolutionize and kind of change everything. And the TLDR of that is basically the addition of the Gutenberg, not gluten-free, the Gutenberg press is the fact that book consumption basically 100, 300x in a very short time period. So it was no longer the royals or the holy men that were able to actually read books. Now it became super mainstream. Now we're having this moment with AI, except the curve for adaption is basically straight up and vertical, which is unbelievable. And so these types of folks that adopt this is the optimistic view, is that you are now even more armed, you are better at your job, and you can create even more wealth and prosperity for everyone around you.
And why not do it for yourself? Why not take the plunge, build up the side hustle, and then when you're ready, go ahead and push them chips and become an entrepreneur on the interwebs today. I'm here for it. I'm here for it. I think it's the best time to be in e-commerce 2026 and beyond. We're going to dunk on the doomers. We go up and to the right, baby. The American dream is alive and well on the internet today. Firm belief of this show. Last story of the day comes to us from Kip Rowland. Kip, who shall be joining the show as a guest very soon. Infamous live seller on Whatnot and TikTok, describing some unique content here that I think once you put it in your back pocket for your brand, agency, personal profiles, etc. Kip says this: watch the kid on TikTok live shoot half-court shots for 5 minutes. In that time, he received $35 in tips. Let's go. Hey, $35 for 5 minutes, not bad for a kid shooting half-court shots. He does this every night. It's actually addicting to watch, but thankfully I prevailed and closed the app. Live streaming is crazy. And I think he's got records here. Half-court world records is 9, personal best 7. You can click in on these comments. The guy's apparently got 85 this session. It looks like he got 85,000 likes. Some kind of hot daily ranking, 2.4 thousand viewers. It's kind of crazy what this kid's doing in a span of 5 minutes, shooting half-court shots. I'm looking at some of these other comments. I think it was better than Galaxy. You missed 2. So this guy says, but he got $35 in 5 minutes. How much money is that for per hour? How much money would that be? 5 divided by 60.
Don't do public math.
I try not to do public math. Let's just calculate this out, because I do feel like it's significant. $35 in 5 minutes. Okay, 60 divided by 5, 12. 35 divided times 12, 420. Guys making $420 an hour. Not bad for a kid shooting half-court shots, live streaming on TikTok. I don't know if there's anyone more bullish than us on live selling and live streaming. And hey, coming out of Commerce Roundtable, I am so serious about us putting something together with Whatnot and TikTok and getting more brands to look at the opportunity there. Aren't you bullish on that coming out of Commerce Roundtable? I am more than ever.
More than ever, I'm so bullish on it. And that story was a bit of a nostalgia core for me. I know we talked about it on the show, but I had as part of my high school freshman year, they let one of the freshmen every single year shoot a half court shot at the beginning of the year in front of everybody at the school. So all grades in the entire school, they let you shoot a half court shot for I think $15,000. And my freshman year, one of our freshmen that we got and sent him up there, he hit it on the first try.
Wow.
And it was such a such a freaking start of our high school where we were like, anything can happen. This is crazy. This is unbelievable. This is so cool that this guy just did this in front of everybody. And that was such a nostalgia core for me of just like high school shooting half court shots and having fun with it. And it seems like that's what this kid is doing. He's just having fun with it, kind of messing around in the gym. It's not really a serious thing, but like if he could have fun with it, kind of get his name out there a little bit, I'm all for that.
Fun maxing. I mean, the guy's getting 84,000 likes, so he must be having some fun. He must be having some fun. Good on him. Do something interesting on the internet, and I'm so bullish on live selling and live streaming content, especially in the vein of nostalgia core being a trend, real, raw, available, entertaining, etc. More bullish than ever. I think that we, especially after that dinner and the story that John Roman told again. John was there. We've had him on the show from BattleBox. Everybody knows, they don't, but they should know that Whatnot is now their #2 revenue generator, has surpassed Amazon for them over at BattleBox. Crazy. Okay. We had him come up and retell the story. Give us 3 or 4 minutes, John. What's going on? Whatnot? Tell us about it. We asked the room, which was full of incredible operators inside of our game. Okay. Millions, perhaps billions of dollars of ad spend had been spent by the people inside of that room, many years in the trenches, in e-commerce and D2C. We asked the people in the room to raise their hand if they had heard of Whatnot, if they had heard of it, not been on it, not sold anything on it, if they had even heard about it. Colin, how many people raised their hand?
Maybe 2. And that room for sure had over $1 billion in ad spend knowledge just with Kano in there from True Classic.
That's true. So that's true.
But there was over $1 billion in ad spend in that room, but bar none, for sure. And maybe 2 people raised their hand, maybe like kind of a half hand raise from one person, like unbelievable.
And then we told the story, and then after John finished, of course, we had a couple of other people to bring up there, interesting things happening from people inside the room, etc. A couple more stories to tell. Everybody was, it was a roar. It was a roar. Everybody table was like, whatnot. I mean, there's just, it's hard to get control of the room again because there was so much heat behind that conversation. I'm telling you, the same way that we said it at Commerce Roundtable, what Paul at BK Beauty was telling us 3 years ago at Supper Club, exactly what John Roman is telling us now about Whatnot. Live selling, live streaming, entertainment, shopping, winsome, helpful, and here for D2C brands, not just niche resellers, here for D2C brands, not cannibalizing your .com sales, all of that. And I think that we need to do something with Whatnot specifically because there's too many people in our space who don't even know that it exists yet.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Absolutely.
They would greatly benefit.
Well, many thanks for Philip Lee joining us today of ENAK Seasonings. Many thanks to Seguno Postscript and Incense for making the show possible. Colin, I think next time you are on this show, you shall be back in North Carolina. And it sure was good to have you here. Commerce Roundtable, I think, was an absolute smash. Very tired. I did get a full night's sleep last night, which was nice.
Yeah.
Hadn't happened in a little bit. But Jack did a great job navigating technical difficulties that we had to jump through and take hurdles over. And I'm more excited than ever to run it back, perhaps in San Diego, round 2. And who knows? You may see Chris and Colin here in some other locations before too long. Road show around the country. More details to come. Thanks for joining us. Last words before we get out of here, Colin?
What a week. What a week. Couldn't be more bullish on all things e-commerce. It feels like we're back.
E-com is back. Thoroughly back. E-com is so back. I am more convinced than ever. What a week, and it's only Wednesday. We will see you tomorrow. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you on the other side.